Good evening, everyone. My name is George Fisk, and I'm a member of the Sherburne Town Caucus Committee, and I want to welcome you here tonight. I'm delighted to see so many people. I'm a little concerned. I guess I'd heard there were some parking issues, but hopefully some of the other events going on nearby are going to be over shortly, so hopefully everybody's been able to find the places they need. I have a couple of things I'd like to say at the outset. First is for you to know that the caucus committee that was elected last year consisted of myself, but also Janet Walsh, who is here, and Georgia Durr. And Georgia had been a member of the caucus committee for the last few years and was a terrific person to have assisting us with all of our efforts. Georgia had to resign from the caucus committee because, as many of you I'm sure know, Georgia and her husband have moved out of town after having been here many years and been very, very actively involved people in our community. We've been very fortunate to have them here, but they have moved, and so she had to resign. I had been in touch with elections and registrations at the state level to see what latitude, if any, we might have with regard to filling her spot. And the answer was we didn't have to fill it, but we could if we wanted to. And Janet and I did make a decision, and we asked a person, some of you I expect know Britt Phillips, who's been active in Sherburne affairs of recent past. And so Britt will be joining us, has joined us as a member of the caucus committee, and I want you to be aware of that. And I thought also before we went much further, Representative David Linsky is here tonight, and on occasion David has joined us just to offer a few words of welcome, and we welcome him to say hello to us.
Thank you, George. I just want to take a minute. I love coming to this event every year, the Town Caucus in Sherburne, because it really is democracy at its best. This is where everybody in town, every registered voter in town, is allowed to come in and help select candidates to serve on volunteer boards and commissions for the next year. And it really is something special, because a town like Sherburne can't exist without civic engagement, without volunteer people who give up their time, sometimes unwillingly give up their time. As some of you may find out, if there are any vacant offices tonight, you may be drafted into them to run. But it's how a town like Sherburne really runs, and it's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's great to see so many people here tonight. This is a great turnout for a town of 4,200 people. It really is. And I just want to say, it's also very nice to see Tom Twining here tonight. I just got to say that. Given the health challenges that Tom has had, it is really a miracle to see him here tonight. And it is really, look, if somebody says, oh, I am too busy to vote, or I am too busy to participate, or I can't get there because I've got some appointment, just remember that he came out here tonight after all that he's been through over the last year, and that's really what democracy is all about. I just want to say thank you. It has been an honor and privilege to represent the good people of Sherburne over the last 14 years. I love it. I've grown to love this town. I'm a Natick boy, but I love Sherburne just as much. And have a good caucus tonight, and thank you very much for giving me a couple minutes.
As has been the custom in the last few years, we've had the opportunity to hear from a couple of student directors of the Sherburne Community Center Foundation, and we have two this evening who are going to share a few words with us. The first is Gabe Lehman, and the other is a fellow named Kurt Dimmick. So I would ask one at a time, I guess, or both, whatever you'd like to do, to come up and share some words with us. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gabriel Lehman, and I am one of the student directors here at the Sherburne Community Center. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone here to the 2014 Sherburne Town Caucus. Tonight's venue is located in one of Sherburne's finest historic buildings. This building was built in 1858, and after 156 years of existence, it continues to thrive as a gathering place for all members of our community. The 1858 is the home of our community. It offers and hosts many meaningful and worthwhile events our town has to offer. The Sherburne Community Center Foundation is the nonprofit organization that manages and maintains this building. The foundation does not receive any property tax or town-related support, and hence relies solely on rental income and your donations to maintain and manage this beautiful historic jewel. Since the inception of the Student Director Program, we have worked very hard to build a series of events and activities geared to high school students. The Student Director's mission is to provide high school students a fun, safe, and substance-free place to hang out. We offer enjoyable and engaging activities. These activities include dances, movie nights, game nights, and live high school musical performances, all of which has helped us raise funds and to support this building, and more importantly, offer not only young people, but all of us a great place to meet. One of our largest assets is the volunteer board made up of dedicated adults and very enthusiastic students who devote their time and energy to make the Sherburne Community Center the heart of our community. I'm very proud and excited to be part of this organization and this community. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Kurt Dimick.
Good evening. Thank you, Gabe. Again, my name is Kurt Dimick, and I am also a student director here at the Sherburne Community Center. I would like to take a moment to reflect upon the Sherburne Community Center's main mission statement. It states, "To promote a sense of community by ensuring that this community center is available to and used by Sherburne groups and organizations at minimal or no cost, and to fund, preserve, and maintain a schedule and schedule the use of this historic building." Tonight, I am proud to report that after more than 25 years since the foundation was formed, they continue to fulfill this mission statement. We truly are a place for everyone. I am proud to be a part of this organization and in making this a better place for young people in our town. But it takes all of us to make Sherburne great. To improve our community, it takes all of your help. We need you to attend, to volunteer, to help plan, to offer your talents, and to give your treasure in creating the events that convert a town into a community and that build a house into a home. As I speak for the foundation of the student directors, I send a big thank you to our donors and volunteers for all of their wonderful support. It is because of their generosity that we have this wonderful jewel to offer our community. Thank you all for coming out and participating in this important political process. I wish all of the candidates good luck, and thank you for your commitment in making Sherburne great.
I've been asked to ask them a question, and that is, what upcoming activities can you tell us about?
Thank you for asking, Mr. Fisk. Together with the film club at the Dover Sherburne High School, we are planning a movie night for tomorrow night from 4 to 7, offering high school students a free showing of Captain Phillips.
We're also very excited about hosting our annual Jammin' in the Red on March 29th. It is a coffee house setting where people play music, and it's way during the Red Women Week, which is, it's established to those who have cancer, and it's to raise awareness to for substance abuse and to make sure that people refrain from doing those substances. Thank you.
Again, before we get any further, I'd like to thank certainly the people who helped with organizing this this evening. A lot of people do get involved. We have people who serve as tellers who may or may not be busy tonight. We'll have to see. We have people who are checker-inners, and they have been busy tonight, and people who help organize the setup and also the refreshments we have. So I certainly would encourage you, as long as they hold up, to take advantage of that. First order of business is for me to read the caucus call, and this has been posted as is required by law. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 53 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and amendments thereto, if any, a caucus of the registered voters of the town of Sherborne, Massachusetts is hereby called to be held at the 1858 Townhouse, Sherborne, Massachusetts, on Thursday, February 27th, 2014 at 8 p.m. for the purpose of nominating candidates for the various town offices to be filled at the annual town election, for the election of officers to be held Tuesday, May 13th, 2014, to elect a town caucus committee and to transact any other business that may legally come before the meeting. The meeting will be called to order by a member of the town committee. The checklist registered voters will be used. And as I say, this has been properly posted. At this time, in order to move things along, we do need to elect a clerk and a moderator for caucus. And I will begin by asking if there are any nominations for caucus clerk.
I would like to nominate Sue Anderson as caucus clerk.
Thank you very much. Your name?
Jana Walsh.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? If not, then we'll close the nominations and we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of Sue Anderson being elected as the caucus clerk, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Congratulations.
Good evening. To keep things moving along, I'd like to open the floor of nominations for moderator of the 2014 Sherborne Citizens Caucus.
Janet Walsh. I would like to nominate George Fisk.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I will close the nominations and ask you to cast your vote. All those in favor of George Fisk's nomination for moderator, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Nay. Congratulations.
Reminiscent of Groundhog Day. Okay, we will. I will review caucus procedures. You have an agenda. Hopefully you were able to pick one up. I don't know if we had enough to go around, but if not, hopefully you can share with your neighbor. And you will see attached to that a listing of elected officials, and the names that are identified to the right of the positions are should be the incumbent for each of the positions whose terms expire this year. We will go through in this order, and I will accept nominations for each of the positions. And what I would hope is that as people are nominated, if the person who is being nominated is here and could stand or raise a hand to be recognized, I think that would be nice for all of us. And I would ask the nominator, if he or she so chooses, to feel free to give a brief but a succinct but clear little pitch for their candidate. And we'll do one for each candidate that's nominated. And then we will proceed to a vote. If we see that there is only the number of candidates for the number of positions open, we'll proceed to a voice vote. If we find we're in a situation where there are more people nominated than there are positions available, then we will proceed to a ballot vote, and if we get to that situation, I'll explain that at that time. That's why we have our tellers, and you each have a ballot. I would also say, as we go through this, that if you are the nominee, elected to be the nominee on the ballot, the caucus nominee, that I would ask you to please see Janet Walsh before you leave this evening. And if you don't seek her out, I'm sure she's going to seek you out. Because it's much we have to get your acceptance of this in writing, and we have a certain time frame within which this needs to get done, and knowing that Janet has a busy weekend means that I got to do this. So we are going to try to get your acceptances this evening if at all possible. What I also want to add is that whether you run for office tonight or not, or let's say you run and you are unsuccessful in your bid for a position, or you decide to run afterwards, you can still run for office. There are papers that you can take out, and there's a time frame within which you need to take them out and return them to town clerk. And Carol Marple, you've got to be here. There you are, Carol, and I suspect Carol, as usual, has papers available for any of those who'd like to take them out, and I would encourage you to do so if that's something you would like to do. Have I covered that, Janet, pretty well, you think? Okay. Then I think we can proceed, and along the way, I'll probably think of other things to chime in about, but in any event, if we proceed, the other thing I will say is that's important on the agenda for this evening. The town election dates are important, and if you take a look at those, they should be helpful to you as we get through the election season. The first position where there is an term expiration is that of town moderator. Coralinda C. Lincoln is the incumbent. It's for a one-year term. And at this point, I would entertain nominations.
I am Margaret Robinson, better known as Peg, and I would like to nominate Coralinda Lincoln to be moderator.
Very good. Corey Lincoln has been nominated. Are there any other nominations for town moderator? I don't hear any, but would you like to, Peg, do you have words?
I would just say that I think she's been doing a fine job for I don't know how many years now, and another good thing is that she really wants to do it, and it's not a job.
Why are we bothering with the vote? We just Corey, do you want to raise your hand, or just there's Corey? Okay. Having heard one nomination for one position, I would entertain a motion that the nominations be closed and that the clerk cast one ballot for Corey Lincoln. Moved, seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Congratulations, Corey. Moving along to selectmen. It's for a 3-year term. We have 3 selectmen. The selectman whose term expires this year is Paul Durensis. And I would entertain motion for selectmen.
I nominate Paul Durensis.
Who are you?
Joe Palooka. Tom Urmston.
Paul Durensis has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? All right. Tom, would you like to say a few words?
I'll go through the whole thing. I'll make it fast. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to nominate Paul for selectman. Paul brings a lot to the selectman's table. First, he brings a wealth of experience over the years in helping the town move forward on building and improvement projects, renovations of the school, police station, town hall renovation, and more recently, the highway garage. On financial matters, he has consistently stressed the importance of avoiding an operating override and has pursued such benefits as increased state aid, increased state funding for road maintenance in town. Personnel-wise, he has recently overseen the hiring of a new town administrator, although I think he's had a lot of practice in that department. And for the first time in Sherburne's history, we have a full-time fire chief. One accomplishment that I followed a few years back was Paul's direct contact with the governor on seeking the transfer of water stewardship of Farm Pond from the state to the town, an important but below-the-radar achievement regarding the town's principal asset. Which brings me to Paul's general involvement with statewide organizations. I'll cut this short, but he's got several positions in state organizations, municipal association, in leadership positions. And these, of course, are very high-paying positions. But the real benefit is that because he has a seat at the table, we know what's going on in the state, and Sherburne has a voice in statewide issues. Paul is an actively practicing municipal lawyer, 9 times recognized as a super lawyer. This year, one of 11 so identified in 6-state New England region. Finally, I have known Paul for over 30 years, and it has always been so obvious to me that Paul loves the town of Sherburne and will do whatever it takes to safeguard and promote the town's interests. The town should consider itself lucky to have him available as a selectman going forward.
Thank you. Paul, would you raise your hand or stand? Very good. Thank you. At this point, I would entertain a motion the nominations be closed and the clerk cast one ballot for Paul Durensis as selectman. Second? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you very much. Next position is that of town clerk. Carol Marple is the incumbent. It's for a 3-year term. Entertain motions.
Mr. Moderator, I'm Kitty Sturgis from Hunting Lane, and I'd like to nominate Carol Marple with an E at the end of L. It's okay. Thank you.
Carol Marple has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Kitty, do you have some words to say about Carol?
If the audience doesn't mind, I would like to take a few minutes because sometimes nominations are made and we just want to rush through the evening. But this is a time to recognize candidates that have served the town or those that are now starting to volunteer in the town. And if I may take a couple of minutes, I will do so. Thank you. Carol Marple has served the town as town clerk since 1999. She loves her job and she does it well. Carol has a long history of volunteerism in her church, our schools, and our town. She has held a position on many local boards and committees, including her current favorites, the Sherburne Benevolent Society and the Sherburne Community Center Foundation. She functions as an advocate for homeless issues at the State House. She has also served the New England and Massachusetts Clerk Association in numerous positions. Passionate about election rights, she is currently in her 7th year on the Mass Clerks Legislative Committee, which is instrumental in writing legislation regarding elections and municipal law. Carol has initiated major changes in the clerk's office with the online meeting calendar, online meeting postings, and computerizing once pen and pencil operations. She has overseen the advent of electronic birth certificates and state database of voters and census information. Carol is currently working on a long-range plan for conservation and preservation of our town historic records in her keeping. Since taking office, she has set up 18 town meetings and run 51 local, state, and federal elections. She has recorded 336 zoning board appeals decisions with the South Middlesex Registry, issued close to 6,000 dog licenses, revenue, ladies and gentlemen, posted 7,000 plus meetings and board meetings, and then filed the resulting minutes. Carol estimates that she has administrated the oath of office to over 3,000 people, including municipal clerks from other towns. On any given day, she may be called upon to research an ethics issue, explain the open meeting law, create an out of the Commonwealth birth certificate, locate the owner of a wandering dog, provide information about Massachusetts marriage statutes, certify residency for veterans benefits, verify family information from the 1600s, and anything else regarding more than the 451 state statutes relevant to the municipal clerks. In 2004, Carol was awarded the prestigious Certified Massachusetts Municipal Clerk designation, one of fewer than 100 in the Commonwealth. I'm almost done. With your votes, Carol will continue to serve Sherburne as our town clerk. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kitty. Carol, would you raise a hand or say hello? Good, thank you. I will entertain a motion that the nominations be closed. The clerk cast one ballot for Carol Marple as town clerk. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, congratulations, Carol. Jean Rosso is the incumbent for the Board of Assessors, another 3-year term office. Entertain motion.
I'm Ken McDonough, 3 North Main Street. I'd like to nominate Jean Russo for the Board of Assessors.
Very good. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, Ken, would you like to say a few words?
Jean is not here tonight, but she's been the chairman of the board for over 2 decades, and she's very enthusiastic about being re-elected for another 3-year term.
Great. Thank you, Ken. Entertain a motion the nominations be closed. The clerk cast one ballot for Jean Rosso. So moved. Second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, thank you. The next position is that of Sherburne School Committee. Ann Hovey is the incumbent. Are there nominations?
Hello, my name is Frank Hook, 6 Town Line Road, and I nominate Ann Hovey.
Ann Hovey has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Frank, would you like to say a few words?
It's not only a pleasure, but an honor to nominate Ann Hovey for re-election as member of Sherburne School Committee. Ann is a parent and a community volunteer who has lived in Sherburne for 14 years. She is a former teacher with a master's degree in education and a parent of a Dover-Sherburne Middle School student. 2 qualifications that should make her want your vote for this position. But there's more. Ann has been actively involved in the town school for the past 12 years. In that time, she has been the personnel manager of the ECDC preschool, was the grade coordinator for Pine Hill Enrichment Program, brought the Math Olympiad to Pine Hill, was integral in the creation of Old Sherburne Days at Pine Hill, held the position of fundraising chair for Pine Hill's CSA, helped coordinate 3 Pine Hill auctions, served as Pine Hill liaison to the Regional Choral Festival, and served on Pine Hill School Council. In the town, Ann is also a fellow board member of the Sherburne Community Center, as well as Dover-Sherburne Lacrosse. She served as president of the Friends of the Sherburne Library and was coordinator of the Friends Children's Program for several years. She volunteers for the Dover-Sherburne Middle School Drama and was the chair for this year's Chocolate Cafe DSMS Music Annual Fundraiser event. For the past 3 years, Ann has been a fellow member of the Sherburne School Committee. During that time, she has served as Pine Hill representative on a multiple search committees for both Pine Hill and the district. She was a member of the World Language Committee that brought Spanish instruction into the elementary school. In addition, she has served on both academic excellence and wellness committees. Ann believes that in these difficult financial times, it's essential to understand the link between budget and program and how to use resources to their fullest potential on the behalf of the students. Ann will leverage the experience and insight that she has gained over the past 3 years to continue to grow as a valuable member of the Sherburne School Committee. it is my honor, and more so a privilege, to ask you to vote for Ann Hovey as she seeks re-election to the Sherborne School Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Ann, I know you're here somewhere there, way over by the coffee. There's more coffee. I'll be over in a moment. I will entertain a motion that the nominations be closed. The clerk cast one ballot for Ann Hovey for the Sherborne School Committee. Seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Congratulations, Ann. The next position is that of Trustee Samhain Academy. Pam Dowse is the incumbent. Are there any nominations?
Hi, my name is Leslie Barnett, and I would like to nominate Scott Embry as trustee for Samhain Academy.
Scott Embry has been nominated for Samhain Academy, a trustee of Samhain Academy. Are there any other nominations? Leslie, would you like to say a few words?
The Samhain Academy Foundation has been operating since 1870, when funds were left to the town by the Dowse family to support the schools in Sherborne. A committee of 5 elected members oversees the management of the funds, decides on the distribution amount that is made each year, and meets with the principal of Pine Hill School to learn about the enrichment programs that the funds support. I would like to nominate Scott Embry as trustee. He is a member of the Sherborne Recycling Committee. He's a member of the Sherborne Community Center Foundation Board of Directors. And prior to his current role as co-president of the Pine Hill CSA, he served as chairperson for the ECDC Nursery School Board of Directors. He actively volunteers with the Town Forest Firewood Program to provide town residents with below-market firewood harvested from within town. And Scott's background is in engineering and formerly worked in the auto industry, and now is retired and at home with a Pine Hill kindergartner and second grader. It's my honor to nominate him to this position, and I ask for your vote.
Is Scott here? Dear Scott, thank you. Thank you very much. At this point, I would entertain a motion. The nominations be closed. The clerk cast one ballot for Scott Embry. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those who are opposed, thank you. Congratulations, Scott. Moving on to library trustees. The 3 incumbents are Jim Murphy, Mary Moore, and Dudley Willis. Are there any nominations?
There are. Should I do these individually or all at once? Each. I would like to nominate Jim Murphy for library trustee.
All right. Anybody else?
Yes. Mary Moore for library trustee.
Anybody else?
Jennifer Searle
Jennifer Searle.
for library trustee.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Stacy, would you like to speak about your 3 candidates?
Yes, I would just like to say a few words. Jim Murphy, most of you know in this room will know Jim Murphy is a longtime resident and active volunteer in the town of Sherborne. He's lived here for 25 years this spring, and he and Dorothy raised their family, and Jim currently practices law from his office based in Sherborne. He's active on numerous committees and groups in town. I am honored to nominate Jim to a 2nd term in the library trustees. He has been an outstanding finance committee chair and member of the board over the last 3 years and has carefully managed the library finances and endowment and communicated both to the trustees and the town, but also has managed the flow of donations we've been fortunate enough to receive over the last 2 years of our library campaign capital finance committee campaign. All of this with his signature good nature and pragmatism. With his wealth of town experience from the planning board to the selectmen board, he brings wisdom and perspective along with his get-it-done attitude to the trustees. I heartily recommend you vote for Jim as nominee for library trustee.
Is Jim here? Jim, raise your hand, stand up. There you are. There's Jim. All right. Another candidate?
Yes, now I will speak to about Mary Moore. I'm thrilled to be able to nominate Mary Moore to another term on the Library Trustees. Mary's been in Sherburne for 7 years and has been active in many groups in town as she raises her young family, 3 kids, 1 in each school, here in the town. Her background includes VP of Forrester Research and Marketing Manager for Disney. She is currently a consultant in business development and marketing. Many of you know her from her ongoing work with the Sherburne Yacht Club. She has served on the Library Building Planning Committee and as president of the Friends of the Sherburne Library and is completing her first term on the trustee board. As chair of the Communications Committee, Mary is the driving force behind all of the newsletters, public events, displays, and other marketing communications from the trustees that you have all received over the last few years. She works so well with the Friends, the library staff, and the town to make it all appear effortless and professional. I recommend you vote for Mary Moore as nominee for the Sherburne Library Trustees.
Thank you. Stacy, is Mary here?
She is. She's back behind the
Back-
coffee.
She's with the
right?
coffee, too.
Keep working, she's always working.
Thank you. And Jennifer Searle?
Yes, but before I get to Jennifer, I would like to say, after many, many years of service on the Library Trustees, Dudley Willis has decided to step down from the Library Board, and I would just like to publicly take this opportunity to thank him for his exceptional work and leadership on the Library Trustees for many, many years. But fortunately for us, I am delighted and honored to nominate Jennifer Searle to the open seat for the Library Trustees. Many of you know Jennifer and her family here in Sherburne. Jennifer is a lawyer by profession and has lived in town for 18 years and has been active in many organizations, including the Pine Hill CSA, Broadmoor, Sherburne Girl Scouts, Sherburne Arts Council, Dollar for Scholars, as well as numerous activities in Pilgrim Church. Jennifer has most recently been an active member of the Library Campaign Finance Committee, integrating new donor technology for the Library Capital Campaign in order to record, track, and acknowledge the generous support from donors large and not so large. Since we have almost met our goal of $3.8 million in private fundraising, this has been no small task, and thank you, Sherburne, very much for that. Jennifer is detailed, thorough, and hands-on, but also a strategic thinker, and will bring not only a great skill set, but a wonderful attitude to the Sherburne Library Board of Trustees. I urge you to join me in nominating Jennifer to the library trustee position.
Thank you, Stacy. Is Jennifer here?
She is.
There you are, Jennifer. All right, I will entertain a motion that the nominations be closed and that Jim Murphy, Mary Moore, and Jennifer Searle be elected caucus nominee for library trustee. Thank you. Second? Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those who are opposed, thank you. Next page. Cemetery Commissioner, a 3-year term. Gene Hom is the incumbent, and I would entertain nominations.
I'm Chucky Blaney, better known as Janet Walsh's mother. I'd like to nominate Gene Hom for another term on the Cemetery Commission.
Gene Hom has been nominated. Any other nominations? Chucky, you going to say something?
I have no speech.
Is Gene here? Gene is there. How do you feel, Gene? Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion the nominations be closed and the clerk cast 1 ballot for Gene Hom as Cemetery Commissioner. So moved. Second over here. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, thank you, Gene. What did I do? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there is nobody. There is someone. I'm sorry about that. The incumbent is it's Brian Moore, is it not?
Yes.
Brian Moore, I believe, is the incumbent. Is that correct, Roger?
There's a legal question about that.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's not worry about who the incumbent is. Let's just go move forward with Water Commissioner. Thank you, Roger. Well, I'll entertain a motion with regard to Water Commissioner.
Gee, funny you should ask. Yeah. I'd like to nominate Mary Moore's husband, who is the current Commodore of the Yacht Club, Brian Moore.
All right, are there any other nominations? Pardon? Yeah, who are you?
I'm Roger Demler. I'm a Water Commissioner.
It's Roger Demler. Yeah. All right, are there any other nominations for Water Commissioner?
Brian is a professional environmental engineer and is a licensed site professional, appointment with the state, and runs his own company, and he's worked with the Water Commission before and done some excellent work surveying the water situation downtown, and I highly recommend it.
Very good. Brian, are you here? Pardon me? So you didn't put that on the little talk. He does more than that. All right, well, that being the case, and having not heard any other nominations, then I would entertain a motion the nominations be closed and that Brian Moore be elected the caucus nominee for Water Commissioner. The second over here? Second. All in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Mary. Jean, we're not going to do you again. Planning Board, there are two positions whose terms expire this year, Robin Pereira and Chuck Yan. Are there nominations for either one of those or both of those positions?
I'm John Higley, 14 Saddlebrook Road. I'd like to nominate Grace Shepard, and I have another nomination, Chris Tolman.
There are two people whose names have been placed in nomination, Grace Shepard and Chris Tolman. Are there other nominations? John, you want to say something about each of them?
Yes. I'm pleased to nominate Grace Shepard. I've had the pleasure to serve with her. She's an associate member on the Planning Board now, and I've come to know her expertise, knowledge, and what she brings to the Planning Board. The Planning Board's role in development is to review and approve subdivision of land, site plans for certain business, certain special permits, trees, and stone walls on scenic roads. It's also responsible for drafting and maintaining the master plan, or as we call it, the general plan. It's really important for Sherburne to plan for the long term. In addition to our tax rate and property values, when our kids graduate, it's really important to be clear on why we live in Sherburne, what we want it to be in 30 years or more in the future, and plan a path to get there. Grace is on the Planning Board now and repeatedly points out Sherburne is a unique oasis of excellent schools and green open space. She's the author of what I hope will become the guiding statement for the update of the general plan and for the Planning Board. She wrote, "Plan for the future of Sherburne by supporting and protecting those aspects of the community which need to be saved unchanged, and by initiating and planning for change where it is needed. Reach out to the community to help define this distinction so that the board can balance the demands for protection and saving and changing, and thus protect the values and the future of the community." So Grace is a clear thinker. She's very well spoken. She has the ability to understand different sides of issues like tax rate, property values, school excellence, protecting open space. Grace is an activist, she's opinionated, and is a good influence on the rest of the board. The Planning Board is now conducting a resident survey, and this year the Planning Board will guide the process of updating the town's general plan. Her experience is very valuable. At the state level, Grace served on the Board of Directors of the MBTA. At the regional level, she's the past president and the present executive board member of the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. Here in Sherburne, you know Grace served 3 terms as a selectman. She's on the Planning Board and is a member of the SOS group that hosts research and spirited discussion about important Sherburne issues. Her background in town, region, and at the state level is increasingly valuable as we compete for increasingly scarce state resources. Grace is constantly on the alert for resources, relevant information to understand where we are and what others are doing that may help us. Grace and her family chose to move to Sherburne and stay in Sherburne because it's an oasis and is committed to helping Sherburne. Please vote for Grace for the planning board.
All right. And Grace, would you raise your hand so people can see, or stand? Yep, thank you. And you want to speak about Chris as well?
Yeah, Chris Tolman is a civil engineer with 13 years of professional experience in commercial and industrial design, permitting, master planning, construction, green buildings, and bicycle and pedestrian transportation planning. He has extensive experience dealing with planners, developers, and regulatory agencies. He's skilled at regulatory compliance, account management, communication, and mediation of projects. And when I was talking with him, he mentioned he also has expertise in conflict resolution. So he got my interest. Chris grew up in Lexington, Mass., and went to school at WPI in Worcester. But he studied and worked in Chile, the Netherlands, Costa Rica, and he's lived in South Carolina and Maine. And he and his wife and young son moved to Sherburne about 3 years ago. So he really represents the new young family that's attracted to Sherburne. Chris was vice chair of the executive board of the very successful organization Charleston Moves in Charleston, South Carolina. And he is a consulting engineer that's worked on large construction projects, stormwater, transportation and trails, and master planning for conservation groups. He serves on the Land Management Task Force here in Sherburne, and he's now the president of the Sherburne Forest and Trails Association. Chris is a conservation advocate, an outdoor enthusiast. He bikes and he climbs, and I think he's been on every trail in Sherburne. So please vote for Chris Tolman for the planning board.
And is Chris here? Yes, there he is. Good. Thank you, John. Entertain a motion that the nominations be closed and that Grace Shepard and Chris Tolman be elected to caucus nominees for planning board for 3-year terms. As a second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. And next we have Regional School Committee. Richard Robinson is the incumbent. Nominations.
I'm Michael Lee, 28 Wildwood Drive, and I'd like to nominate Richard Robinson for Regional School Committee.
Richard has been nominated. Are there any other nominations for Regional School Committee? Don't hear any, so Michael, do you want to say something?
I'll be brief. It's my pleasure to nominate Richard Robinson for re-election as Sherborne's representative to the Dover-Sherborne Regional School Committee. Beyond his role as a proprietor of a farm in town, Richard has deep roots in our community. He is a graduate of Dover-Sherborne High. He has raised 2 sons in Sherborne who are also proud graduates. His professional credentials are impeccable. First as a high school biology and chemistry teacher for 16 years at the Commonwealth School in Boston, and now as a science writer and gentleman farmer. This perspective and grounding in science is incredibly valuable as the district continues to chart its course in the early decades of the 21st century. Mr. Robinson can make things happen. For years, the district struggled to sort out the cooling and ventilation issues for the new middle school building. Making the case for the solution was not an easy feat. I know for a fact many of you, us, in the room were skeptical. But Richard, in partnership with his Dover School Committee colleague, made the case with clarity and patience. And as far as I'm aware, only my daughter is still upset since it was installed after she completed 8th grade. I asked a colleague on the school committee what came to mind when she thought of Richard. Her response was his breadth of knowledge and his measured, calm, cool way he worked through the challenges that confront a school committee. We are well served by Richard's continued service on our regional school committee, and I ask for you to support him at this caucus and at the town election in May. Thank you.
Richard? Thank you, Michael. Motion, the nominations be closed. Clerk cast 1 ballot for Richard Robinson for Dover-Sherburne Regional School Committee. So moved. And second. Wow. Yeah, there you go. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Congratulations, Richard. Under the Board of Health, Chris Quinn is the incumbent, and I would entertain nominations for Board of Health.
I'm Bill Worth, 3 Mill Street, and I'd like to nominate Christopher Quinn for the position of Board of Health.
Very good. Are there any other nominations? Would you like to say a few words about Chris?
Just a few words, I'll keep it brief. Dr. Quinn is currently a member of the Board of Health. He has been for about the past 9 months or so. He was appointed to that position by the members of the Board of Health and the Selectmen due to an unexpected opening on the board. Dr. Quinn is a practicing physician who has extensive experience in public health and Board of Health matters. Along with his experience on the Sherburne Board of Health, he also is the health officer for the city of Attleboro, which is where he works. Dr. Quinn is also the president of the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards. I feel that Dr. Quinn has been a tremendous asset to the Board of Health in the short time that he's been on it thus far, and I think the town of Sherburne would be well served to allow him to continue on the board. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Chris Quinn? There he is, thank you. Entertain a motion the nominations be closed and that Chris Quinn be elected caucus nominee for the Board of Health for a 3-year term. So moved. Second. All in favor, please say aye. Anybody opposed? Congratulations. We're nearing the end. Recreation Commission, never the end. And Doug Collins is the incumbent. Are there nominations?
Melissa Bowman, Woodland Street. I'd like to nominate Ray Weiss for Sherburne Recreation Commission.
Ray Weiss has been nominated for Recreation Commission for a 3-year term. Are there other nominations? Melissa, would you like to say a few words about Ray?
Yes, thanks, George. Ray Weiss is owner of the Weiss Company, Incorporated, a design-build firm incorporated in 1992 with an office and showroom in downtown Sherburne. Ray is a combat vet and has a history of service dating back to 1982 when he's joined the U.S. Army Airborne. He served for 4 years and he currently volunteers on the Veterans Day and Memorial Day committees in town. He's a father of 4 children, ages 9 to 23, and has volunteered his time to coach teams from t-ball to soccer and youth basketball. Ray will bring the experience of financial oversight and leadership to this post, having served as treasurer and president for his first condominium association as well as the National Association of Remodeling Industry local chapter. Thank you for considering Ray Weiss for this position.
Thank you. Is Ray here? Pardon? He's not here. Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion that the nominations be closed. Ray Weiss, and the clerk cast a ballot for Ray Weiss as member of the Recreation Commission. Moved and seconded over here. All in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? We're moving to the most important stuff now. Okay, let's move to election of the 2015 Caucus Committee. The incumbents are, in addition to myself, Janet Walsh and Britt Phillips.
Can I do all 3 at once, like Stacy?
Quickly, yes.
Okay. Wait, I'm not going to say anything about you. Is that quick?
That's best.
Mary Ann Clancy, I'd like to nominate George Fisk, Janet Walsh, and Britt Phillips for the 2015 Sherburne Caucus Committee.
Thank you very much. Are there other nominees that people would like to make? Nominations? Thank you, Mary Ann. If not, then I accept a motion the nominations be closed and the clerk cast 1 ballot for George Fisk, Janet Walsh, and Britt Phillips for the caucus committee for the ensuing year. Second. All in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, thank you. Before you go, remember, Janet, how are we doing with getting signatures? Unbelievable. I get the weekend off. Okay, this is great. Thank you all very much. This was great, and I appreciate so many of you showing up this evening. Remember, there are opportunities if anybody wants to take out papers. You still can do that and run for office. I'd be happy to chat with you about that, but Carol Marple is really the expert. And there are cookies in the back. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.